Okay, so I have my scope cam adapter hooked up. We'll go ahead and go through the power settings. This is 1 power, 1.5, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Now the scope's elevation and windage turrets are graduated in mils. We'll go ahead and start cranking the elevation. This is 1 mil, 2 mil. You can watch as the reticle actually moves downward. Obviously I'm trying to hit up. We're going to crank this. Maxed out right there. Go back to 0. Go the other direction. Shows you the extent of the travel. It's 40 mils at 100 yards rated. Go ahead and adjust the windage. That's heading to the right. Go back the other direction. We'll go ahead and go through the illuminated reticles. Green. It has 5 settings. 4G, 3G, 2G, 1G. And then that's red, 5R, 4R, 3R, 2R, 1R, and 0. This Pinnacle Sightmark scope is a first focal plane scope. Essentially, the reticle subtensions on the mils do not change as you zoom in and out on the power setting. Essentially, on a second focal plane scope, you will notice as you zoom that the reticle remains the same. The disadvantage of a second focal plane scope over a first focal plane scope is that on a second focal plane scope, the reticle subtensions are typically only valid at a specific power settings. Therefore, if you're trying to range with a second focal plane scope, you have to turn the power all the way up, which can be a tactical disadvantage if you're on the lower power settings. As you can see, as I zoom in and out, the reticle appears to shrink in size because the subtensions do not change in any different power level settings. Howdy folks, it's Nito, Pro Staff for Sightmark, out here ringing out the new Sightmark Pinnacle 1:6 by 24 first focal plane scope. I've got it mounted on my 260 Ackley Proof. Going to do the walk the dog test. Essentially, I'm going to shoot the center bull. I'm going to start making elevation and windage corrections, and we'll see where they land. Here we go. Okay, we'll go up 1 minute. Go over to the right 1 minute. Come down 2 minutes. Go to the left 2 minutes. Go up 2 minutes. And then we'll go back to the center. Alright, let's see how that turned out. Alright folks, this concludes the walk the dog test. I hopefully picked up a couple things in the video. This is my first time actually shooting with a mil dot or mil radian scope. I've been so ingrained in shooting a minute of angle scopes in minutes. You heard my corrections, I kept on saying minutes and not mils. But regardless, I'm very impressed with the Sightmark Pinnacle 1:6 by 24 millimeter objective. My first shot was about 1.25 inches high, okay? If you notice in video, I said I'm gonna come up 1 minute when I meant 1 mil, and it actually tracked perfectly. And then I went over 1 minute, which I said in the video, or 1 mil to the right, which tracked, I'm within probably 3/8 of an inch. And then I came down 2 mils, which tracked not too badly, about 3/4 of an inch. And I came over 2 mils to the left, which tracked perfect within about 1/4 of an inch, which is the capability of my rifle. And then I came up, unfortunately, I came up and then I came back over, and that's the shot right here, and then I came straight down to 0 and right here. So obviously the scope tracks very well. Had some operator error. I'm gonna have to start learning my mil dot radians if I want to be a more well-rounded shooter, obviously tactical shooter. Regardless, the Sightmark scope is phenomenal. It's got phenomenal glass on it. Very impressed. Talking with some of the fine folks at Sightmark, I hear that we're gonna be coming out with some longer range models. Obviously, the scope is dedicated toward the tactical rifle crowd. I've got it on my 260 Ackley strictly because I wanted the rifle, the accuracy to be eliminated and just look strictly at the scope itself. I've got the Sightmark quick disconnect mount, so I'm going to mount this next on my AR-15 carbine. This Nita with Sightmark.